A leftist gun club is using a slogan allegedly written on shells used by Charlie Kirk's assassin to recruit new members on college campuses. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Ever since Charlie Kirk's assassination on September 10th, there's been a pretty huge shift in already pretty big political divides, at least between the loudest voices. Calls for more violence on the left, celebrations over his death. I've seen social media hit lists targeting people who said, hey, we shouldn't be celebrating this. There have been people on the right calling for civil war, people getting fired from their jobs, tons of people claiming that they're leaving the Democratic Party. Allegedly, folks saying the time for tolerating the left is over, people canceling public speaking gigs. It's been a lot. Even The Atlantic, of all outlets, recently ran an article, "Left-wing terrorism is on the rise." Some people speculated this would be a political breaking point. That remains to be seen. But an escalation in violence seems to be the order of the day for at least one leftist gun club/militia, and that is the John Brown Gun Club. But before I get into the details on who they are and what seems to be a thinly veiled call for violence, this video is brought to you with the help of RMA, the King of Armor. RMA was founded by a Marine veteran and produces record-breaking ballistic plates that outperform every competitor in the industry. And now RMA has just launched the new XRT plates, filling the protection gap between level 3 and level 4 without big bucks or heavy weight. The newest offering in their special rifle threat category is as close to level 4 plates as you get without the extra weight or budget hit. They're just over 5 pounds a plate, but they do not sacrifice multi-hit, hard-hitting penetrator and armor-piercing performance, and as if these plates were not already awesome enough, RMA is launching them at a sale price to make sure that everyone can afford lightweight, American-made body armor, whether you are a prepper, a hobbyist, law enforcement, or a big shot operator. So to cut weight, cut price, and keep the performance, check them out at my link down in the description. Now, all people have a right to keep and bear arms. That includes leftists, and they have the right to associate with whoever they want. The Second Amendment is for everyone, and on the one hand, it is great that there are people on every side of the aisle looking to defend gun rights. What's a problem is when people invoke that right as a means to harm other people for exercising theirs. I've covered the John Brown Gun Club in the past. They are a decentralized leftist organization that, according to folks on Reddit, are masters at organization and keeping their actions and plans secret, with folks often only finding local chapters through members at other socialist meetings and organizations. That being said, when I covered them in the past, I was able to find some training materials and things like that, and they do typical militia things, but with red bandanas. I'm also told that members often don't admit their status to outsiders. Official write-ups about them say that they have a shared focus on mutual aid, security for marginalized communities, and firearm safety. But in online discussions about the organization, people say things like, John Brown was a terrorist, arguably the only good one, who used violence to prove a point. You can't control violence. It's like a wildfire. It can make the forest healthier, but it can also burn down your home. They're associated with the Socialist Rifle Association, and in some areas they're associated with Antifa, like the Puget Sound Club that was part of the so-called Autonomous Zone in Seattle in 2020. They've also been associated with Redneck Revolt, who, to my understanding, eventually disbanded over allegations of the leader being a sexual predator with a long laundry list of accusers. There have also been 2 documented events of club members attacking ICE facilities, one being a firebombing in 2019 and one in July, with some outlets reporting that the most recent attack in Dallas was also affiliated with the group. With that kind of resume, maybe it isn't surprising that the group is now recruiting members at Georgetown with a flyer that says, "Hey fascist, catch." The same phrase allegedly scrawled on Tyler Robinson's ammo, who is the suspected Charlie Kirk assassin. The flyer further reads, "The only political group that celebrates when Nazis die." The QR code links to a web page that says, "We're building a community that's done with ceremonial resistance and strongly worded letters. If you want to make a real change in your community, let us know below." Another flyer showed a censored image of Charlie Kirk. The flyer read, "Follow your leader and rest in piss, Charlie Kirk." This flyer was also connected to the John Brown Gun Club. The flyers were posted in plain sight on the school's activity boards and in campus dorms on Wednesday. Some members of the school's college Republican club said that they viewed it as a threat, that there are people on campus who believe conservatives should die, and I can see why they would feel that way. Sure, the John Brown folks could try to argue that they're just recruiting for the same old community mutual aid that they claim to be about, but using an alleged assassin's message along with saying that Nazis should die and be celebrated when they die, plus a website saying that they're going beyond ceremonial resistance for real change, the implications here are pretty strong. And sure, they could argue that, well, if you're not a Nazi, you have nothing to be afraid of. Except the problem is, groups like this have an ever-evolving definition of Nazi that eventually includes anyone and everyone not a hardcore leftist. Even in Reddit threads about the group are tons of stories of people saying that they weren't accepted or were kicked out because they did not know enough about queer or trans or LGBT history. People who said that groups were always fighting and branching off over purity tests and who is more principled and could be more left than someone else. Which I suppose is a good thing for anyone who might be in their rifle sights. It sounds a lot like a thinly veiled threat of violence and a statement that murder is okay when it's your team doing it. All from people who claim it's the right that's a threat to democracy. I mean, you're not going to look at that and say, well, that is a call to action for puppies and cookies and rainbows. No. Even if the end goal here isn't overt violence, all one has to do is go on Reddit and look at any of the threads discussing this group and how proud they are to make other people afraid. The school's administration has since removed the flyers due to the amount of people who viewed it as a threat of violence. It's also allegedly being investigated by campus police, and according to the Georgetown Voice, the incident has even been reported to the FBI. The club is not on the school's official roster, and the other political clubs associated with the school issued a joint statement condemning political violence and infringements on free speech. The school says that they are going to try to get to the bottom of who put up these flyers and who is associated with the group on campus, but the fact remains that at the end of the day, it is another group of people who think that murder of their political opponents is the only answer. All right, ladies and gentlemen, that is it for this video. Please like, share, and subscribe if you are new here. Ring the notification bell, drop a comment down below, and as always, thanks for tuning in. Please stay safe out there, and happy shooting.